Welcome back to Chasing Whiskey. I'm Terry.
I'm James.
And we're a little closer than normal today because I bought a bottle in our first stop in the Lowlands, and I didn't want James to see what the bottle was, so I was trying to get him to stay in close to the frame. And the reason I didn't want you to see it is because you have seen this bottle before, kinda. It's Auchentoshan.
Auchentoshan.
Cheers.
Cheers. We've had an Auchentoshan.
We have had an Auchentoshan, but this is Auchentoshan 12. We had the Auchentoshan American Oak.
Okay.
And the reason I picked Auchentoshan 12 is because our availability of Lowland scotches is incredibly limited. And we had divided up the list.
Yes.
And alphabetically, I got the first one. It happened to be Auchentoshan. And the only other one that we can get is on your list.
Okay.
And so that is why Auchentoshan. Now, Auchentoshan, there's three bottles we can get here. We can get the 12, the American Oak, and the 3-wood. And so I bought the 12 only because I think we're trying to stay closer to the traditional, right? As opposed to something that's triple wooded or done differently than the norm. So,
okay.
So yeah, so Auchentoshan. So one of the things is you're not going to be very surprised about the bottle because you've seen, my assumption is the bottle will look the same.
I hope it's a little different.
Well,
we'll see.
Let's see. Open her up. Let's give it a shot. Were you surprised that it's the same brand as what we've had before?
I am surprised.
It's the first time we've had...
But it is a different...
It's a different Scotch,
which I'm excited,
but it's the same distillery.
Because this is the first time we get to try a different whiskey from the same distiller.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is exactly
I think the only difference is the color of the label. Right?
Very slight.
And is there a difference in the color of the actual whiskey?
It's
a little bit.
So
yeah.
Darker.
Yeah.
What? How old is this one?
It's like it's non-aged, so,
okay, so
it doesn't say. So at least 3+ a day. Yeah.
Now
so
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is the front
embossed?
Like
Yeah. Same embossment. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very similar bottle.
Very similar bottle.
Yeah.
The label is a little redder and the whiskey's a little darker.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and that's a 12.
And let's see what it smells like. Pour us a glass, James.
Very cool. Let's see here.
And once we get poured, you can give us a little bit of knowledge of the Lowlands, because I know it's your turn. Oh, here it comes.
Very satisfying.
It is very satisfying.
And I do remember the pour is nice. It's got a nice shape for...
I didn't think we'd be this soon into our journey and hit the same distillery. But it's just a complete coincidence because when we started out, we didn't even try to get different. We just grabbed things because they were on sale, right? So I think that's why I bought the last one. It was on sale.
Okay.
This one wasn't.
Let's see if
it smells.
Any memories.
Well, that was our second episode.
Haven't smelled that before.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's... You've described things in the past as floral, and I've never picked up a floral. This hits me as a little floral and a little citrus. What is it to you?
I would say it's got that citrusy bite.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think of the color in the glass? It is definitely darker than the last Auchentoshan, as we just compared. Amber, gold.
Yeah.
It's dark for a Scotch, but it's not the darkest thing we've had even in Scotch, I don't think.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Ooh.
Smooth.
It's smooth, but it has a... And I'm trying to remember the last one. And maybe I shouldn't even try to compare it. Maybe I should just enjoy the experience and rate it for what it is.
What else do you taste?
There's a sweetness, but it's not like a really, really sweet, like a... What is it?
Do you think it's more like a bourbon?
No, it doesn't remind me of bourbon, but it does have.
It's dark.
It does, yeah, and it does have a bit more.
I'm curious. I'm curious because apparently in the Lowlands, which
educate us.
Which
that one hit me.
Have fewer distilleries. There's only like 6, although they're the style of whiskey may be making a bit of a comeback, but there is a definite style, and they sometimes produce more grain whiskeys with grains and corn versus your barley in the Highlands. So that's why I asked if the sweetness reminds you of the bourbon.
Well, I can tell you that I did a little bit of research on Auchentoshan without looking at tasting notes, and it's not made with. Okay. Yeah, so it's made with barley mash. So yeah. So
a few other things that are sort of typical to the Lowlands.
Yeah, please educate us.
It's a grassier, less rugged terrain, and it's almost like their whiskey is the same. It's very light, gentle. They tend to be triple distilled.
This one is?
Which really...
Auchentoshan does everything triple distillation.
And I think, what did they call them? The Lowland ladies.
Okay.
The different distillers.
Because they're softer, or because they're...
just gentler and sweet, and so it's a definite style of that region. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because I almost got a hint of cinnamon there just a second ago.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm tasting. It's a bit different. There's a harshness right before you swallow, but maybe that's what you're describing as cinnamon. Maybe I don't have enough experience with cinnamon to understand what cinnamon is, you know?
Just a ever so light hint.
There's a heat, but it's right before you swallow, right at the back?
Yes.
Yeah. In my first sip, it hit me a bit hard. Kind of took my breath away. What's the alcohol? 40. So it's not strong.
So, do you remember anything about the actual distillery?
I remember triple distilled. I remember it's just south of Glasgow.
Okay.
I think. Oh God, I'm gonna get this wrong.
I remember reading about their stills as well as being very tall.
Yeah, I saw pictures. Tall stills, triple distillation, which actually makes it a really high ABV going into the barrel.
Okay.
Which apparently is faster at pulling out notes out of the barrel.
That makes sense. I think I recall them saying the tall stills makes them, they're able to distill large amounts very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think overall? Any notes that you're pulling out?
Any notes? I don't know. It's a pleasant enough whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm trying to think. I sort of evaluate everything on
what we've had previously.
Yeah,
it's tough not to do that.
And of course, I'm going to have my favorites. This style of really floral.
I think there is some floral there because there's something that I'm not familiar with, and I think it is a bit floral. There's definitely, like, I smelled a bit of citrus. There's definitely some citrus in the taste.
Okay.
Just a bit. And from my perspective, but maybe that's the bite I'm feeling, to me, feels like citrus, but not harsh, like a mandarin or something like that. Anyway, what do you think? Second one, open up with water, see if we can try it a little better. See if we can do this a little more.
That's really good.
It is good. It's funny because the last two we had were so different from what we've had in the past. This comes back to more traditional.
So
there's no surprises here, right?
Right. So I don't want my lack of surprise to come because it is
right. Yeah, exactly. The last two, one was so smoky, and one had a sweetness at the end and a harshness at the beginning, which we had never felt before.
That's another thing about the Lowlands, by the way. They tend not to have the smoky peat.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's all coming back to me now.
So they're not peat roasting their.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. So
And I don't know. I read at one spot that they said they don't use peat because of the mining industry. That's kind of left me hanging. Like, why?
So, yeah, maybe that's next week's question. We're still going to be in the Lowlands next week.
Man, I don't even know how to find that answer.
I don't know. We'll have to look into it a bit more. Maybe that'll be my journey. Is why?
Okay.
Why is peat not used in the Lowlands? And I'll try to dig into that more specifically because that would be interesting to understand.
Yes.
Right? It's one thing to understand about the region.
Maybe they don't like fires all over the place. I don't know.
Maybe peat's holding the topology together. They can't.
What do you guys know about that?
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna know. We'll have this recorded before the next one's out. Do you think that changed it? Oh! Creme brulee! Holy crap! I smelled.
Damn it!
Creme brulee.
You're right.
Like it just.
It does have that. That's
like it's not a smoke, but it's like a sweet burnt sweetness.
Yes, I can taste the crunch. Yeah.
Holy crap! It came up and smacked me in the side of the face. I keep saying that about a sod for PD ones, but wow, it just hit me all of a sudden.
Yeah, now that's interesting because as good as a creme brulee is, would you want to sit for an evening? No, but it's not. I don't find it taste a whole lot like creme brulee. I found it just like the smell just kind of hit me. It has a little bit of that taste, but it's not like it's not as sweet as creme brulee. And is it appropriate to judge a whiskey by would you drink it all night?
Well, no. Sometimes you want just a sip. Sometimes you want just one dram. Whatever.
Which is another interesting reason to have a collection.
Yes.
To be able to pull from.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want creme brulee tonight.
Right. So we have to ask the question.
Yes.
I bought this. You don't know how much it is.
I don't know how much it is.
Would you buy it again? You may have a bit of a hint because,
Well, and I think my answer.
But it's a different age, so it probably, yeah.
And if I am going to buy it again, do I buy this one or the first one we had?
Well, that's a different question. That's for another episode.
I don't know.
You said you'd buy the other one again. Okay.
Yes, I would buy it again. I'm assuming it's in the same price range.
It was a little more, and I forget what the last one was, but I remember the last one was on sale when I bought it.
Right.
I don't know if we gave the sale price or the non-price. So this one was a little more. What was the last one?
Last one was $49.99. That was probably on sale.
This is $62, $61.99.
Okay, so we're buying time.
We're buying time, 12-year, right, exactly, where the American Oak probably was 3 years and a day, maybe a little more. And the other thing is that Auchentoshan triple distills every single drop. So some distilleries triple distill like a percentage of their whiskey,
right?
Where Auchentoshan triple distills everything. So this triple distilled, then waited 12 years.
That's a lot of value for $12 or something.
Yeah, well,
that's
$12 more for,
that's insane.
Several more years.
It always makes me wonder how distilleries even make money.
Volume, right? It's hard in the beginning, I'm sure, but once you're got up and running,
12 years to wait.
Well,
that's a long time.
We should really, once we're done our tour of Scotland, talk about how they get to a 12-year-old bottle, because they don't just have a single thing that's 12 years. It means that the youngest drop is 12 years old. There's probably 18 or 20-year-old whiskey in here too.
I don't know.
Because they typically do a drip process where they move like half a barrel down to the next barrel and half that barrel down to the next barrel. And so, anyway.
And I know they are big on the blends in.
And this isn't blend; it's single malt, but it's. You still can move that same malt through different versions of or different barrels. Anyway, we'll have a whole other.
Did we have any notes on that on the box?
Yeah, so we did. I remember the last time it was excellent notes. So why don't you tell us what it says?
Triple distilled, aged 12 years, delicate and layered.
See the bottom. It has great notes.
You're holding one of the only triple distilled.
You gotta pick it up now.
What's that? Yes. You're holding one of the only triple distilled single malt Scotch whiskeys. We've crafted Auchentoshan in the city since 1823. Auchentoshan, let it roll off your tongue. We travel the world to find the finest wood. With our 12-year-old crafted mellow single malt matured in bourbon and sherry casks for added complexity, the result is a layered and delicate single malt with notes of dry leaves and ginger.
Ginger.
So it's ginger.
The smell of ginger.
I was picking up cinnamon. Is that the kind of a...
There's a harshness. I didn't know what it was, but maybe, I don't know what ginger, like, I've had ginger, but.
So on the nose, almonds and lime, cereal. It's got the citrus. We picked up citrus. The taste is sweet caramelized toffee with hints of dried orange and grapefruit.
So caramelized toffee is the top of a creme brulee. I didn't taste it, I smelled it, but maybe I tasted it because...
Yeah, and it's funny, as I get to know it, I appreciate it more too.
Did I taste it or did I said I smelled it, but did I smell it? I don't want to say smelled it with my tongue, but do you know what I mean?
That's all one system. Dry and long with a lingering nuttiness.
Long.
Yes.
It does hang in the throat. Is that what they mean?
Works for me.
And it says dry. We've had ones where you say it's oily versus dry, oily versus dry. I don't know what you have to do an A/B comparison to figure that out. But it does hang on you.
I can feel why that's dry.
Can you?
I don't know if I can describe it.
I don't understand dry, but it's
dry.
definitely long. Like it hangs on your, like it just, it's in your throat longer than the rest. I haven't had another
and I
whiskey.
think it's a little drier than my taste, but I see why they call it dry. It's...
You take a breath in after.
Yeah, good. It's gone.
But it's hanging in your throat. It's not in your mouth anymore.
Yeah, my tongue is like, it just...
Okay.
It's gone.
We're starting to learn things. We think we've both done that a few times while we're having this. It's very good. It's more of a lesson for us than anything else.
Crafted in Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Nice.
That's just what I said.
That's what. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, I think we need a third to finish with.
Yeah. Let's have a third. We're gonna change things up tonight. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm gonna say to you, that is a nice shirt.
Oh,
so I know where it's from.
Yes, our favorite pub at the corner.
Yeah, with their
and
beer.
They made it for May the 4th.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with you.
Very cool. And I'm not wearing a watch. Had I worn a watch, we could have actually done a complete twist around here. You know what we didn't do?
There. We've got a pretty good collection going. Who knew that we were going to get this far?
I did, absolutely.
Lowlands.
Next week we're going to do another Lowlands.
And we'll know a little more about the Lowlands.
Yeah, and so I'll do a little research on why the mining industry doesn't like them using peat, or they don't use peat because of the mining industry, and see what that is. See what that's all about.
If you guys know, drop a comment.
Or wait a week.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Smash the button.
Yeah, we like that. It helps a lot. Yeah, so that was good. Cheers.
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 See you next week.
See you next week.